Welcome, viewers around the world. We have a very special guest, ONENESS SANKARA. We've got two episodes coming up. This one, she's gonna tell us about it. ONENESS is everything. Her words will lift you, and we're honoured to have her here, talking about lived experiences. ONENESS, beautiful lady who is a purpose mentor and a quantum creative. How are you doing, Queen?
I am blessed and highly favored and really happy to be here.
That's right. She is. Feel the blessings. Get the inner glow. It's a glorious thing. So, tell us about being a purpose mentor and a quantum creative before we get on to our topic about what's it called, parenting and Down syndrome, TS21.
Okay. Well, purpose is it's actually very connected to part of what we're speaking about. So I'm someone who's always believed that everyone has a purpose, and then in my more recent journey, having a child who was born with whatever you want to call it, a disability, a special ability, a diff ability is one of the ones I heard, possibility, yeah. However, when you interface with dominant ideologies, it's not seen in that their life is not seen as valuable in that way. And actually, every single person who chooses to incarnate into this lifetime, and is blessed with the gift of life, has a purpose. And that's not something that we're not taught. We ain't got no purpose class in school. It's not something that we have in that way. And so therefore, through many of our life journeys, we end up having to find that later on in life. Even just the idea of, oh, I have something special and unique to give to the world. I'm not just a part of a battery for a big system that I don't benefit from. I have something. I have a purpose. I have a blueprint written in my soul. So as a purpose mentor, when people are having that awakening, like, there's something more, or they're at a crossroads of, what does my purpose mean now? That is the process that I support and mentor people through. And I also do that through my creativity. My creativity is to spark, is to niggle you to be on purpose. So that's the purpose part. And the creative part, the creativity part. So if you break it down into, I don't know, traditional or more known creativity, I do spoken word. I'm a playwright, songwriter, actor, director, all of that side of juicy stuff. But similarly, I believe that our creativity isn't just for people like myself who have a creative job. It's actually something that we all get to use in order to create. They say we're made in the image and likeness of the Most High, which is the creator. So we create too, and we get to create our world and create our lives and create change. So using the sacred art and tapping into the infinite, the quantum realm, in order to catalyze change. So that is the quantum creative part.
I love that. And when you're talking like this, and I've seen you when we welcomed you to give workshops and just inspire all kinds of youth and elders, and I feel that you bridge that, and I feel that within you there's an infinity. So it's so good that you have these different blessings that you've birthed in all of your strengths, and you bridge all of that and you share all of that. And people, check out her thing. I will put everything in the links in the description, and you will see for yourself. I don't do it justice, and you'll just see. So for me, I love when you said also about the special abilities and the possibilities and the different abilities. Tell me about how that has lent itself in your progress as a parent with a beautiful child that has TS21, and what does that mean for people who do not know?
Okay, so Down syndrome is the most common name that we know. And if you asked me before I had a son with this diagnosis, I wouldn't be able to explain it in this way, right? So on a scientific level, not that I'm a scientist, but we all get to join in. It's having an extra chromosome, right? Having an extra chromosome. So typical people have 46 chromosomes in each cell. Somebody who has Down syndrome has an extra one on their 21st chromosome, which gives them 47 chromosomes.
Mm-hmm.
And so the technical word for it is trisomy 21. So trisomy 3 on the 21. 3, 2, 1, T21. I like T21, so I roll with T21. I don't really like the term Down syndrome as a personal thing. Not anything against anyone, because some people, we like different things. But like Down, Sin,
Exactly.
Drone,
Exactly.
like I was schooled in the energy of Rastafari. Rastafari taught us about words and sounds and the vibration of language. So I think that anything that has sort of down at the beginning doesn't really give you the best start.
Exactly.
One of my other youth says up syndrome. That's his how he rolls with it.
Yes.
And then I don't know, my son, when he's big, he might turn around and tell me, actually, we don't like any of those names, and this is the name, and we'll keep progressing.
Of course.
So that's what it is on a technical level. What does that mean in everyday life? That sometimes our young people, our people with this diagnosis, have to work harder in order to do some of the things that we take for granted. So, for example, one of the things that many people with T21 have is low muscle tone, which means that walking might be more challenging. So you have to build and work on muscle tone through physio, stuff like that, fine motor skills, things that a neurophysically typical person doesn't think of on a day-to-day basis, is something that if you have T21 and low muscle tone, you will have to work on to develop. Yeah. And it's varying. Some people might be really challenged with speech. Some people may not develop speech in a traditional way, and other people it will be less. So it varies. I don't think it means one thing.
And that's really key because it's really key to know that, because and thank you for explaining that so clearly, because sometimes when you're reading these medical terminology, it's just overwhelming. But it's really key that you said a variation and a variant, because literally that's what they mean by each child, each person is different for that reason. So there is not one size fits all. It's a learning process every day. The key thing is, as a parent, as a guardian, listening to that person. And if they cannot communicate, being in tune, being quiet, being still, it's just so helpful, to be hearing this, just as a co-parent to a child who is like what's called school going on ancestor, and is amazing and teaches us every day. And someone said that they remind us how to be good and human, and it's true. Still learning about self, lots of answers coming through in what they do as we evolve and coexist in this life. So, you know, I'm thankful for you making time for this, because there are some kind of the individuality of everybody, whether you're so called neuroatypical, or you have an invisible disability or not. For me, the way things are going on, I feel like there's so many people who are just undiagnosed. And this knowledge, as being an advocate, as my husband and I, and our close support group, she's teaching us. There's some things that she knows more than we. There's, way ahead. She's way ahead. Other things, I say to her, "You've got this," and she said, she literally said, "I've had this for a long time. I've got this for a long time." So we're just like, okay, that you're like, yes, that pride is there, but the unseen challenges and even the language that you're talking about, the way you're talking, it really helps, because even the language, it's like the human race, simple, straight line, but there's all these unnecessary hurdles, including the language.
Yeah.
How do you identify? It's very simple. Ask the person. If they don't know, ask the carer, ask the parent, ask the guardian. Help each other from the person-centered. Still, but we give thanks there's good in all of them. We've had amazing support in that autism spectrum, social communication difficulties, but in a mild way. And it's just like saying, it's just about language first of all, and then there's no hurdles. So I'm thankful for that. I wondered as well, in terms of can you tell me please more and people more about your T21 Academy? Because I checked out one of your podcasts. Well, please check it out, people. Yeah. How did that come about?
So it's T21 Alchemy. Yeah.
Oh, forgive me. Because you're teaching so much, I'm thinking this should be in the curriculum.
Listen, it's completely fine. It's completely fine. We have a lot of things going on in our Academy, Alchemy. Them sound similar. So is that all right? No offense is taken out here, right? So T21 Alchemy was it was something that was birthed in the process of our journey, myself and my family, my community, my son, and I remember just getting it was in my head. I had to put it somewhere, so I put it on Instagram. Nothing was posted. It was just at T21 Alchemy. There it was. At least it just needed to exist in the world. And then October is, as well as being African History Month in the UK, it's also Down Syndrome Awareness Month. And so I decided because I have a podcast called The Purpose Pod, and I hadn't been recording for a while. And I said, you know what, actually, I want to do something just about the intersection between African history and T21. They're both things happening in the same month. I feel like my son and his experience stands in the intersection, so I wanted to talk about that. And after starting to record that, I had so much more that I wanted to say that I decided to do a T21 Alchemy series.
Great.
And I spoke with a few parents who were also advocates and activists and just amazing people. Some might have, who set up, they might set up organizations, different things online, etc. In the same energy of raising awareness and challenging perceptions, and just real openness to the journey that they've been blessed to go on with their children, and so I believe children are a blessing.
Yes,
children are a blessing. Yes. Such a gift. We were children and we're blessings now, so how can children not be blessings?
That's it.
And feeling extra gifted with our children, with our extra chromosomes.
Yes.
I wanted to celebrate that journey. So T21 Alchemy was born. There's about 8 episodes. But I'm letting you into a little secret that I haven't really shared, which is that it's going to actually have its own entity, because I got positive like responses and feedback,
That's
etc.
fantastic.
And
Yes.
so it's going to become its own. It's going to become its own podcast with its
That's
own.
great news.
Yeah,
Honestly, I wanted that's really great news, because it's needed, because there's so many things that, as I say, that no one person has all the answers. I think we are miracles in ourselves, and as you say, blessings, but if we give each other the chance, we can actually find the answers that we're looking for. It's within us, or it has to be unlocked, in a positive way. So my questions for you is, how is your son? What's he like in terms of awareness of himself, in relation to your dynamic, and in relation to others?
I mean, like, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. I will not be able. I know I cannot do him justice, by trying to explain who he is, but he's a remarkable young boy, going on 16. You know them ones there.
Yes.
Old wise soul.
Mm.
He's he's aware of a lot. His emotional intelligence is like a next level. Like the intuition, like,
Yes.
where you go, did I say that out loud? And he'll just be like, oh, phone so and so, and I'll be like, did I say that out loud? And like, the levels of like synchronicity and just magic that he's brought into our world and amplified is, and watching him work and navigate the world. So he'll walk down the street and he'll be like, good morning, and the nuance with that, he's got locks on his head, he's a Rasta youth, so if he sees somebody else now with locks on their head, he'll be like, Rastafari, and those, just that thing that we learn, that different things in different spaces, and so in his own identity, he's proud of himself as a Rasta boy. He loves Bob Marley, because he sees himself when he sees that. So if you ask him what you want to hear Bob Marley. He's got a big playlist with all kind of things, from ABC to Fela Kuti, you know what I mean, to Little Sims. Like, he's that's he's very creative,
very amazing.
That's his vibe. In relation to his diagnosis, for us, it's never been the primary facet of his identity, although he is aware of T21. He's aware of Trisomy 21. He's aware of Down syndrome, because that's the predominant language people might use outside, and we just speak about it.
Yes,
really.
Same. We're the same.
Yeah, and it's just he's 6, so as he gets older, it's going to mean different things. He may feel in different ways about it. But like, I have a bonus son. Some people say a stepson, extra son, whatever, right?
He's just your son.
And my son, right? His brother. And I remember him once saying, oh, that's not fair, I want an extra chromosome. Like, because of, I guess, how we contextualized it in our family. And he didn't look at the challenges that came with that. He didn't say, oh, it wasn't like, oh gosh, he's got to go physio or he's got to do whatever. He was like, oh, I want, like, my brother's amazing, I want one of them. Do you know what I mean? I want one of the extra chromosomes, the extra magic that he's got. And obviously reassured in his own magic. But so yeah, so it's an evolving, it's an ever evolving thing. Yeah,
It really is. The thing is about it is that true inclusion. There is no. I mean, of course, there's a separation in terms of societal stigma, which
Mm.
amazes me when they say that the West is civilized. So what I love about that is a very clear example of you. You've created a safe space in any space. You know, for both your sons, your older son, to be feeling and saying that. Do you see? And I think that's a very brilliant example to give. I wanted to really ask us about, because apart from your content, which I do share with everybody, by the way, and anytime there's, because speaking with different parents and customers and friends,
Mm.
there's sometimes just don't want to talk. Here's a link. Said it all. Said it better. Here's one where you'll understand. I wondered, have you seen any other positive content outside of yourself that actually that's real
Yes.
in terms of this?
Yes. It's interesting because, so when I received my son's diagnosis when he was days old, days young, um, I, went to the internet, and was like, felt like I was scraping the internet to find like a reflection, that I could identify with. So I found lots of stuff online. I actually found quite a lot of stuff online, mainly white people and white families and white children, which, great information. As you said, we're all part of the human race, and I also wanted to see me. What, am I invisible? Do you know what I mean? I want to see people that look like, mums that look like me, and sons
Yes.
that look like my son, and fathers that look like his father,
Yeah.
And so in that journey, I came across, there's a lady, she's got a podcast as well. She's in America, and her podcast is Diversity and Down. Her name's Amber Rojas. She's on, I interviewed her as part of T21 Alchemy.
Oh, great. We'll
And
check it out.
I saw her birth story. So she had a water birth similar to myself. So yeah, had a water birth. I had a water birth too. And her child was diagnosed with T21, and was a brown baby, like my brown baby, And so that was really reassuring. And yeah, you just felt seen,
Yeah.
And then there's another lady who I also interviewed, Denise Grant, and she has a group called Pandastry, which is for people with children of African heritage who have Down syndrome, and they have like support circles, meetups. They have WhatsApp groups and different things and whatever. So there are positive things around. Everybody who I interviewed on the T21 Alchemy series is doing something really positive.
Great.
And so yeah, and there are more. There are more, but definitely there's a lack of representation.
Yeah.
There's a lack of representation, and so it made me want to address that.
Yes.
Or at least contribute to reversing that in some way, shape, or form, which was a big thing for me, because prior to that, I didn't share any of the children online. I've got, I've always, I'm a community mama and auntie, in that way.
Yes.
So I've always had children from I was 16 years old in my life, like that. And I didn't share them online. And after that, I was like, oh, actually, this puts me in a bit of a dilemma, because you know, you want to protect children's identities, so not share them, but yet I remember being in a situation where I needed to see I needed to see that family,
It's
you know.
true. Mm.
And so you know, I'm still working that out so that it's balanced, so that he's comfortable, you know,
Yeah.
all of
Yes.
it, you
It's
know,
true.
all of it, finding that balance,
That's
finding
so.
that balance.
Mm.
But yeah, so there's people out there doing definitely there's people out there doing positive work, and who've got positive representation. Yeah.
I love that. I look forward to what's called listening to the remainder of the podcast, because I loved the first one, and it's having, you know, finding that time, which I get some self-care time, and I'm gonna make that happen because I want to hear everything so it's retained, and you know, can lean to that. But this is the kind of, you know, each one teach one and
Yeah.
passing that. So what's it called? Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap this one up?
Not particularly, just like, I guess just keep being open, and keep learning, and being patient, and not being afraid to ask questions, you know, because I one of the things that I see is that sometimes people are, especially in 2024, that we're nervous and we don't want to say the wrong things, and this and that. Some people are just rude and they must just hold and come.
Hey,
But
yes,
like,
now.
you know, to be real about that. But
Yes.
by and large, you know, so like people might not, like, through being nervous and being a bit scaredy, then they end up being rude because you don't say hello, or you don't
Yes.
speak to you don't see there's a human being there, but because you don't know how they communicate,
Yes.
then you don't say anything, you know. And
Yeah.
like, you know, some people are non-verbal, some people are verbal, some people are but hi, this
Yes.
is universal.
Acknowledgements.
Hi, right?
Exactly. Just a respectful acknowledgement,
Yeah.
and that kind of energy. It's very funny. That's a whole other episode one day, in terms of, you don't want to. It's not everyone you say hello to, but it's that you want to include. Everyone's busy, but I've been to places where it's just they're talking to me. They're talking to me and asking a question, and I literally have to take their gaze and just say, ask her.
That, yeah,
And I literally
snap.
have to do that. The same as when
Snap.
birthing, the medical professionals looking at me talk about and mother, and I just have to look to my husband so that he can be included. This
Yeah.
He's the one
Yeah.
that all of these kind of things. It's,
Mm.
as always, we are leading by example on so many ways, not by choice, by necessity. So what's it called? It's been an honor. It's so helpful, and I'm going to share everything because there's a need for this. There's so many people who need that kind of. It's a lifeline support, you know, especially your kind of content. People need it because there's so many things that people are actually afraid to ask, even in online groups that are meant to ask them. The judgment from fellow parents and guardians. I go to comment and help, but actually, it's okay. So, thank you, viewers and listeners. I'm going to share wonderful ONENESS SANKARA's purpose mentor, quantum creative. It's a beautiful thing. Peace. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.